amazing business owners. Welcome back to another episode of Business Straight Up. Today's episode has an unpopular opinion in it. I'm just going to throw it out there. It is what it is, but we are going to talk all about relationships today. And no, I'm not talking about marriage counseling or anything like that. I am talking about part number 2 of 7 out of this series that we're working through of must-have skills for success in business. And today's part 2 is relationships matter. So we're going to talk about 5 different types of relationships that you need to be fostering to see the success and the growth that you want to see in your business. And we're even going to talk about your family. And what do you do when your family doesn't support your business? Because that shit is real, y'all. I'm so excited to have you here today. And as always, if there's any questions or anything that I can help you with, please head over to the community. You can reach it at businessstraightup.com/community. I am happy to help. Let's listen in. Hey there, awesome people. I am Brooke Summer, and you are listening to Business Straight Up, the podcast for creative entrepreneurs to learn, connect, grow, and build the business and life that they dream of. Welcome, let's get going and dive right in. Welcome back, amazing business owners, to Business Straight Up, the podcast and place to be if you want to actually make a living doing what you love. I am your host, Brooke Summer of Brooke Summer Photography and Business Straight Up with Brooke Summer. And today is part 2 in our series of must-have skills for success in business. This one I thought was going to be short and sweet, and then I'm writing it out and I'm like, damn, this is a lot of information. So I'm really excited to share this with you today. It's something that I believe so strongly in and that I see so many of my students kind of stay away from. I think that we have a little bit of maybe some issues in this area. I know I do as well, especially when it comes to trust issues. So today, this is part 2 of what will likely be parts of 7 parts. I don't know. I keep adding on more, so we'll see. But this is part 2 in a 7-part series of must-have skills for success in business. And this one is called Relationships Matter. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, of course they matter. Like, I know this. Why are you telling me this, Brooke? Of course I know this. But the reality is that so many of us are afraid to put ourselves out there and to really talk to people and start to build those relationships. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the different types of relationships that you need to have in your business. And it's not just in your business, but in your life too, because when you're building a business, your business relies heavily on you, on your mental health, on your mental well-being, on your physical well-being. Oh my gosh, if you are providing a physical service or product, I learned this the hard way when I busted my head open in 2020, that if I don't take care of my body physically, then I can't work with my clients because I'll be in so much pain. So your business relies extremely heavily on you. And these relationships not only support your life, but your mental well-being and eventually your business. So we're going to talk about relationships and all the relationships that you can build in your business, the ones that really matter, things to look at. But first, I want to address something that is a trending hashtag. It's also a belief. It's a belief that I have, but I've seen it used kind of in nefarious ways as well. And that is community over competition. Now, this is a hashtag with literally millions of posts. Okay. So this is a very popular hashtag. I know I've used it. I know people have said it. I know that it tends to be something that people bring up all the time when it comes to, especially people local to them, when you have a local business. However, there are some times that community over competition is not necessarily the rainbows and sunshine kind of concept that we like to make it out to be. This phrase absolutely does not excuse destructive or abusive behavior. And unfortunately, a lot of times these hashtags are being weaponized. So what I have seen happen is that people will do shitty things to other people in their area. And because I'm a photographer, we're going to talk about photography things. I have had other photographers come into my client Facebook group and send messages to the people there saying, hey, don't work with Brooke, you can work with me instead. That is shitty behavior. And that is where community over competition does not necessarily apply. So I just want to be really clear on this, that relationships matter and you need relationships in your business. However, building that community and building those relationships does not mean that you have to be okay with awful behavior. And this can come in so many forms. That's just one example, right? But I want to be really clear that it is not always the case that community over competition matters. Now, in that case, was it about community? No, not necessarily. I mean, this person was literally trying to undercut me and take my clients, and my clients are fiercely loyal and sent me messages going, "What the hell is this?" And I'm like, girl, I don't even know. So we had some conversations about that. But a lot of people would have said in that instance that, well, community over competition, you should have just let her deal with it and let your clients choose. I'm like, my clients did choose. They chose to be a part of my community. And in my community, there are certain rules, just like in your home, there are certain rules, just like in your mental capacity and mental wellness, there are certain rules and boundaries that we need to set. So, community over competition is something I fiercely believe in. I am on the leadership team for a very large photographer group locally, and we have very specific rules to foster community over competition. But there are still rules. We are not going to excuse shitty behavior. We're just not. It's not okay. I'm no longer available for things that make me feel awful. It's just not going to be something that I will accept, even if it has the hashtag community over competition applied to it. So I want to kind of throw this out there. It's a quote from Maya Angelou. I actually just said this to a friend today because we were talking about what people want to believe they are versus what they actually are, or who they are. And the quote from Maya Angelou says, "When people show you who they are, believe them." Now, the reason that I want to bring that up is because when you're trying to build relationships, especially locally, if someone treats you poorly, even if they say the most amazing things, believe them and move on. I want to first talk about this relationship and what that really means too, right? Oh goodness, my computer is making noises. Let me turn that all the way down. I want to talk about what that really means too. Okay, so Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. And building these types of relationships takes time. This is not an overnight thing. And I think so many people get discouraged and say, well, it's just not working, because it's not something that even a week or a month later that you can say, oh my gosh, this has been so beneficial for me. So I want to put that caveat out there that it's a long game. Pretty much everything I teach is a long game. If you're in it for an overnight success, this is not the place for you, because it just doesn't work that way. Business does not work that way. All of the millionaires, the billionaires that you follow, none of them became that way overnight. And I really take issue with this idea of self-made as well, because so many people are not self-made. They have the relationships, they have the family, they have the background. And, we could even talk about privilege in the ways that it shows up for some people and not others. But the reality is that these things take time. So many business owners will go to a networking group and they hand out their business cards and they're like, hey, I'm John, here's my card. And then they move on and they leave. And then they're wondering why they're not getting referrals from this group and why people aren't very warm to them. And they're like, but I handed out all these cards. I buy thousands of business cards. Why am I not getting referrals? Well, I personally call that drive-by carding, and it's bullshit. Don't be that person. Referrals and business building will come from building genuine relationships, actually getting to know someone and sincerely caring about their life, and not just their business life either. Do they have kids? Are they working on a specific goal, even if it has nothing to do with their business? I know one of my business colleagues is working to run a marathon, and I've told her I will be there at the finish line. I'm not a runner. If you see me running, you should run too, but I will be there to cheer you on. It's not a business goal. It has nothing to do with my business, but she's a friend and I want to be there for her. And because I take a genuine interest in her life, I am sincere in my wish to cheer her on. So we really need to start building these genuine relationships. And I feel like social media has groomed us to overlook the value of face-to-face interaction, real life, genuine, deeper relationships. Social media is shallow. It's surface level. And so many of us are starting to kind of expect that from other people. And anytime someone wants to go deeper, we're like, why? What is wrong with this person? But the type of relationships that will grow your business are the kind that don't just exist on social media. Now, again, here is my note because people are always like, Brooke hates social media. No, no, I don't hate social media. You guys, I have an issue with Facebook. I am on Facebook way too much. I promise you that I do not hate social media. Nothing could be further from the truth. I have met some of my closest friends because of communities on social media. But ultimately, we took that relationship offline so that we could be together face to face and support each other in different ways. And as much as Meta or Facebook or Instagram would love for us to believe that the world revolves around social media, there is no substitute for real life, genuine and sincere relationships and the time that's spent growing them. These things matter. So I have a little story for you. Back in 2010-ish, I was looking for photos and I couldn't find any photos. So it was right around 2010. I was part of a local wedding networking group. So we had florists and officiants and musicians and photographers and planners and all of the different professionals that go into producing a wedding because it is a lot of work, right? At the time, I was also a wedding photographer. So I was doing boudoir, but I was also a wedding photographer. And I remember going to one of these events and leaving with a fellow photographer who was like kind of a new friend at that point. Like we knew each other, but we weren't super close. And both of us were feeling so discouraged. She was in tears. I was really trying not to be in tears, which if someone's crying around me, chances are tears are going to come. But she told me, if I don't start getting some clients soon and making some money, I don't know what I'll do. I have to pay my bills. And I felt the same. And it was a really low point for both of us. We were commiserating with each other, which I don't think is the right word. It's not the word that I want to throw out there because it's not about complaining. It's about speaking to another professional who understands where you're at. They're at the same place. They understand where you're at, but they're also not going to sit there and talk about it for 8 hours, right? Because they just want to bash everyone and say, this is all someone else's fault. We were upset. We were sad. We were frustrated. And both of us felt the same way. And we both shared that. And it was a moment where you start to connect with someone and realize that, hey, maybe in this crazy business thing, I'm not completely alone like I feel sometimes. While we were never best friends, we have never been best friends. We've always supported each other from afar. We have both been through some personal stuff that was really hard, some medical stuff, some family stuff, some kid stuff, and we are still there supporting each other, even if it's virtually, because we don't see each other in person very often now. Of course, with COVID, that added another wrench into that. Even if it's not business related, we've still been supporting each other consistently. And that matters. And fast forward to 2022, where we're at, she specializes in weddings, runs her own wedding studio with multiple professionals, has several associate photographers because she now has more clients than she can personally work with. I run a multiple six-figure boudoir studio and teach other creatives and photographers how to do the same. I don't do weddings anymore, but I still support her work and she supports mine. I share her events, I attend her events, and I know that when I start doing my events again, fingers crossed, hopefully soon, that she will do the same. Either way, she will support me. 12 years later, 12 years, guys, it's not overnight, 12 years. We are both seeing our own success in our businesses. And while our success is not because of the other person, that relationship has fostered that community over competition. And we still support each other to this day. And it all started with those in-person events and taking a genuine interest in each other and sincerely reaching out to help and support each other. That is the type of relationship that will grow your business. And it takes time and it takes effort. These things don't happen overnight, and they're not going to happen through a screen. Make the time. I promise you, it will be well worth it. Schedule in time on your calendar to follow up with someone. If it's not a good fit, cool, that's okay too. But schedule in the time to at least be putting yourself out there to connect with other people in a more direct and deeper way than you can just liking someone's post on social media. So that's my little soapbox on that. But now let's talk about the different types of relationships to foster and start to grow in your business. First up is clients. Holy moly. Y'all, I have so much information on creating a unique and a luxury client experience, and it's coming soon. It's in some of my training anyway, especially the boudoir marketing. We talk a lot about that in the boudoir marketing masterclass. If you're not in that, go to businessstraightUp.com/BMM for boudoir marketing masterclass to get more information. But ultimately, this client experience comes down to relationships. Now, please know that I'm not saying that you have to share everything with your clients, everything that you would share with your best friend, unless, of course, they become your best friend, which has happened. But having a genuine interest in your clients' lives will show up in your business exponentially. What the hell does this look like, Brooke? Well, I have a few examples for you. So it can look like having a client community where you're actually engaging and not just sharing funny memes. And when you're actually reading the comments and responding, and maybe even following up on those comments. So what the hell do you mean, Brooke? Well, for instance, if someone says, my son is graduating this month, I am having a really hard time with that. Maybe in June, you come back to that comment and say, hey, are you feeling better now that the fanfare has died down a little bit? How are you feeling right now? It doesn't have to be a super personal conversation, right? It doesn't have to be something that is over the top in someone's business. But when someone shares something with you and you are being present and following up and showing that you actually do care about it, that says a lot about how you do business. And that will show your clients, not only your clients, but everyone else in that group, what doing business with you actually looks like. Now, it can also look like responding personally to inquiries. Now, you all know that I love me some templates, okay? I have templates for everything. Seriously. And part of this was because when I had my team, it was necessary, but I also don't want to type the same thing out over and over again. I'm all about saving my hands, saving my fingers, and saving time. I have a ton of templates, and they're even available on my shop, which is at shopwithbrooke.com, but there are also lines in those templates to add in personal touches, because while you might be sending the same information over and over again, especially pricing and what does it look like to work with you and what is the process and what is the timeline, all of these things that are the same things. When someone emails you and says that she's contacting you, but really nervous to do so, don't ignore that. Don't glaze over that. Don't pretend like it wasn't said and just leave it hanging out there. She shared something with you that was potentially somewhat vulnerable. And if you completely ignore it, you're saying a lot about, again, what doing business with you looks like. You need to show your clients that you genuinely care about them. That's an opportunity to acknowledge what she said. Remember, we all just want to be seen and heard. Every single human on this planet wants to be seen and heard. Everyone. And showing your clients that they're not just dollar signs or numbers to you is crazy important. This can also look like building actual relationships with your clients, meaning past clients. What if you have past client events or events that are only open to clients? I do this quite a bit, or even sitting with them during hair and makeup to chat. Do you know how many of my students are like, you sit with them during hair and makeup? Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? What else am I going to do during that time? Have someone in my studio while I'm just like awkwardly standing around. Like that's just weird. I don't know. I've always sat with my clients during hair and makeup, unless when I used to stack my sessions, I was shooting with someone else while they were in hair and makeup, which I do not recommend. That is a little over the top. It's a lot of work. We all have a story. We all have things that are going on in our lives. And usually people aren't necessarily going to share those things up front. But if you sit with them for a while and you chat with them and you're actually interested in what they're saying and like having a conversation, you would be surprised what they will share with you. Now, I will say that I've had some pushback on this from my students who are introverts. And I want to say, I hear you. My husband is a hardcore introvert and he feels extremely uncomfortable in conversations like that. But the art of conversation is huge when it comes to running a business. There are so many things that you can find out about your clients just by sitting with them and chatting with them. Things that are part of their story, things that really matter to them that they may have never told you. I have shared in my photography website and social media several times over and over again that one of the hardest things about what I do is not just that I can't share all of my photos because of privacy concerns, but that I can't share the stories behind some of these amazing women that I work with. These stories aren't mine to share. So I keep the confidential stories confidential unless someone tells me specifically to share. But the fact that I even know these stories because I listen and I ask and I genuinely care about them is a huge part of why I do what I do and why I have success in what I do. If you are hitting a roadblock in this and you're like, I am not good at conversation, write yourself down a list of 10 questions that you can ask to get someone talking. People love to talk about themselves. They love to hear their own names. Ask something, but make sure it's genuine. For instance, I'm not going to ask someone, what are your weight loss goals right now? Because that's not how I roll. That's not in alignment with my business or my values. You will never hear me ask that question. But I will ask, what are you most excited about right now? What are you looking forward to right now? Do you guys have any big plans for the summer or for spring break or winter break or Christmas? I mean, just pick depending on the season. I will ask those questions so that I can learn a little bit more about my clients and build that relationship with them. My clients are not just numbers to me. And these little things that I can do that show them that they matter to me will matter so much in your business overall. So number one was clients. Number two is relationships to build and foster fellow business owners, fellow business owners that are not in your industry. Now, there are really two sets here, two camps here. There are business owners that are not in your industry that could be potential partners. And there are business owners that are not in your industry that will probably just not align with what you do. And both of those relationships still matter. For instance, I have a friend who sells weight loss products, and we will probably never align when it comes to working together because products like that go directly against my mission and my business values. But it doesn't mean that I can't support her in some way. It doesn't mean I'm going to be like, nope, I can never talk to you ever again. Because when we still cater those relationships, you never know who might be referring clients to you. You never know who's talking with who. Not only that, are you being kind to this person? Even though what they're selling does not necessarily align with you, are you still being kind to them? Because I can promise you that being kind to people gets around. Being nasty to people gets around. And by gets around, I mean people talk. You never know how you're affecting a potential client or referral in the future based on how you treat someone now. Sorry, got a little bit off tangent there. Now, I will say that there are business owners out there who are in direct opposition to my business and personal values, and I will never align with them because of my own beliefs and values. That is a thing, and that's okay too. But I'm also not going to bash them. I'm not going to go on my business social and be like, I can't believe this business is so terrible. They're awful. I won't do that. I just won't, because it says a lot more about the person doing the bashing than the person who is being bashed. Look for business owners who are not in your industry, who align with your values, who have some similar beliefs or mission statements, missions behind their business, and who you might want to build a relationship with. It doesn't have to be a best friend relationship. You don't have to talk every day, but take the time to look around you. Join a local business group. Meet some people who are doing awesome things in your area. Again, even if it's not necessarily something that you would spend your time doing. You never know what you might learn from those people. And if it's someone that you absolutely don't align with, congratulations. Now you know something new about that person or their business or your own beliefs, because we're all still learning, right? We're all still growing. And the point is, you're still putting yourself out there and learning and potentially moving your business forward in doing so as well. Today's episode is brought to you by the new and improved mentoring program with Business Straight Up. If you are struggling with something specific in your business and you need help that is personalized, I am excited to announce that I have officially added mentoring one-on-one back into my business. So what the heck is mentoring? Well, the nice part is that it's custom based on you and your needs for your business. I can help you with marketing or sales or branding and so many aspects of running a business. Mentoring is really part education, part accountability, and part inspiration. I want you to walk away from a mentoring session with me feeling on top of things, with clarity on where you want to go and how to get there and the steps to take to actually make it happen. If coaching or mentoring is something that you have been thinking about, it is time to get some details to see if we're a good fit. Go to businessstraightup.com/mentoring to learn more and reach out so that we can start working together. I can't wait to see where you go in your business in 2021. Number 3, fellow business colleagues that are in your industry. When it comes to exactly what you do, chances are there will be people who just don't get it. When I tell people that I run a boudoir studio, if they don't know what I'm talking about and I elaborate, then I'll tell them a little bit more. But if they do, I usually get one of 3 reactions. They're either like, hell yes, that's amazing, girl, I want more information. Or they're like, oh my God, you are the downfall of society and you're going straight to hell. Or they might just say, and move on. It's so funny to watch people's responses. When you're able to share something with people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, it can be an incredibly supportive community, especially when it comes to those days when everything just feels like a giant ball of failure. And you're like, we're all going to die. This sucks. And I hate this. Shut it all down. Burn it all down. Burn it to the ground. Because it does happen a lot for all of us, even people that are established. It happens. Being able to vent about something that is driving you crazy or ask advice about a specific situation is so valuable. One thing to look for when you're building these relationships, you want to reach out to people who are either at where you're at, so you're in the same place in your business, or ahead of where you're at. Not because newbies are awful, because they're not. But I have watched so many people get so frustrated because they're not getting the same level of support simply because the person that they're talking to isn't quite there yet. We all have our journeys, and growing a business takes time. The challenges that someone in year 2 will face will be very different than the challenges that someone in year 10 will face in their businesses. Again, not because year 2 is bad, we've all been there, but just because we all grow and change as we run through this wild and crazy thing called entrepreneurship. We're constantly learning and growing. I would recommend finding 3 to 4 colleagues that do what you do, that are close to where you're at in business, not necessarily local, because you don't want to be doing the same promotion at the same time. Find someone that is on the other coast or further away from you so that you can bounce ideas off of each other. Form a small mastermind. Go over ideas, learn new things, and support each other. Teach each other your skills. Chances are one of you is really good at something and the other person is really good at something else. Support each other and encourage each other. Once you spend time really fostering these relationships, you might be surprised what comes out of it, not just in your business, but in your life. I know so many people that have met their best friends this way. I have a little mastermind group that's about 6 of us that we just support each other. And that's where we can go to vent. And that's where I can go and say, look, I really want to do something for Mother's Day, but I'm kind of drawing a blank. What should I do? And they'll be like, this is what I'm doing. And it works out wonderfully. We're not close to each other locally. We're not going to be running the same promotion. It won't matter. We are all there to support each other. Excuse me. Number 4, supportive friends and family. Now, as I said before, sometimes I get really weird reactions when it comes to telling people what I do, which is fine. I'm used to it by now, even though it used to really upset me. But guess what? Out of my closest friends in the world, none of them are boudoir photographers. Not one. Only one is a full-time professional photographer. And all of these friends are women that I can cry through the lows with and celebrate the highs. I just had some friends over at the end of 2021 because I set a major goal and I reached that goal for the year. I got myself my favorite cheese tray. It was my celebration. If you listened to my episode about running a business with ADHD, you know that we have to have those little things, right? My cheese tray was my thing. I was so excited. We sat around and we laughed and talked, and they toasted the fact that I had met the goal. They didn't understand the goal. Now they understood, of course, intellectually the goal, but they didn't understand what it meant for my business. They didn't know. They don't ultimately care about the goal. They would love me anyway, just because they love me for me. But they were still there to celebrate with me. I saw a really great analogy the other day, and it was actually in a discussion about religion, but it fits here too. It doesn't have to be our birthday. It doesn't have to be our accomplishment for us to celebrate other birthdays and other accomplishments. Surround yourself with supportive friends who lift you up, even if they don't know anything about what you do. And we're going to add in family here. Because this is a big one. I see a lot of people ask about what to do when they have a partner or spouse that is not supportive of their business. And my answer is probably not going to be a popular opinion here, but we're doing it. So here we go. It is not their job to be supportive of your business. If you are not seeing the type of support that you really want from your family, go and find what you need. Reality check. Most of our culture in the US, and I know that we have people in other countries, but in the US, our culture is centered on an employee mindset that you work hard, you get money. You work 40 hours, you make a living. If you're working less than that, then you must be lazy. Our culture is built on this mindset, and it can be really difficult for people raised that way to see anything outside of that as a possibility, especially a possibility for success or an income. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that abuse is ever acceptable. And having someone in your life that's not supportive of your business might present other challenges, such as financial challenges. And it might really require some boundaries of, look, if you are going to talk about my business that way, then I'm going to leave because this is really important to me and I would appreciate your support. But if you're unwilling to give it, then I'm going to go in another room. These boundaries might be necessary. But ultimately, your business success is up to you. And if you aren't getting what you need from your family, go out and find what you need. You don't get to choose your family. Although I always say my friends are my chosen family, right? My mother was kind of lukewarm about my business at first. And admittedly, as a mother myself, to watch your kid choose something that may not be the quote safe option can be a little scary, right? And now, even 13 years into it, she still doesn't really know how to support me or what I need. But she talks about my publications to everyone when we are out. Did you know that my daughter's photos were on the cover of a magazine? Here, let me show you. She pulls out her phone, whips up my website, and is showing everyone. She tells everyone when I'm ranked the top boudoir photographer in Colorado because she's so proud. And I do mean everyone. Okay, people at a store, a waitress at a restaurant. She tells everyone. She is so proud and she supports me in the way that she knows how. Instead of being upset that she may not be doing it the way that I would have wanted, I accept her. And I have built an amazing empire of women around me to support me in the way that I need and want. On the teaching side of my business, my family really, really, really does not get that. They're like, you do what? You're a teacher? Did you go back to school? Did you get a teaching certificate? You teach like in a classroom? Well, not exactly. I have a podcast. I have online courses. They just don't get it. And that's okay. It doesn't mean they don't love me. It doesn't mean that they're not supportive of me. It just means that I don't share everything with them. When I have a frustration about a lead magnet not working properly, I am not going to tell them. I'm not going to tell my husband. He has no clue what I'm talking about. He'd be like, what are you talking? I just don't get it. They don't understand. It doesn't mean they don't love me. I choose not to share certain things with them. And the bottom line is we can't control other people. We can only focus on the relationships that build us up and encourage us and spend our time with those friends and family members instead of trying to force someone to do something they don't want to do or don't understand how to do. Sometimes this might mean not really talking to your family about your work, and that's okay too. And I have seen this come up, especially with boudoir photography and extremely conservative family members. I have literally been told by someone at church that my website is responsible for men raping women. It is absolutely absurd. And there are so many things wrong with that statement. And I know that people are going through that in their family as well. And my heart goes out to you. I know that that hurts. But ultimately, it is not their job to support you. And it might be up to you to put in place some boundaries around that and say, look, I understand that that's how you feel. I disagree, and that's okay. We can disagree, but I'm not going to sit here and let you bash what I do. I will be leaving. And that's perfectly okay. You can put into place those boundaries. Surround yourself with the people that lift you up, whether they're family or friends or chosen family. I always say my sister, she's actually my best friend. We are not biologically sisters, but she is my sister. And she is chosen. I wasn't born with her as my sister. We chose each other at 10 years old. These relationships are so important, and you get to choose who you surround yourself with. Number 5, mentors and coaches. So this can be paid or unpaid. There is kind of a graying, I don't know if that's a word, graying, like turning gray on that line of who is called what and whether they're paid. Regardless of whether they're paid or not, find someone that you can ask for help. This person should definitely be ahead of you in business. This can be when you come across challenging situations. It can be if you want to focus on a specific skill, if you really want to learn something specific and you need help with that. There are so many different situations when it comes to coaches and mentors. Find one that works for you. Now, I'm going to throw in a shameless plug for my own mentoring program here because I have helped my students multiply their average sales 8 to 10x in the amount that they were making. But find a mentor that you trust and will spend time with you, because that can be huge when it comes to growing your business. It is very important to find the right mentor, though. Now, I was going to type out a whole list of things to look for, but really there are so many things that you can look at. So that will be its own episode. It is a big, in-depth conversation on its own, but do your homework. Make sure that this person is genuinely interested in your business and cares about where you're at. Ask about the boundaries and the guidelines. Can you contact them when you need them? What are the expectations? Are they going to get back to you? What if it's Saturday night at midnight? When will they be getting back to you? Is there a set time that you have to chat? Sometimes the seemingly small things can make a huge difference too. For instance, if this person will only talk in video calls or in person, maybe that's very uncomfortable for you and makes you nervous. So it might not be a good fit. The value of an excellent mentor or coach is worth so much, usually way more than what you pay if it's a paid program. When I think about the people that I look up to, the people that are where I want to be with their businesses, they're ahead of me in goals. Every single one of them has a coach of some sort, whether it's in a mastermind and a group of people, whether it's an actual mentor or a coach, every single one of them. And think about when you, maybe I'm just outing myself as a giant business geek here, not that y'all didn't know that to begin with, but if you ever watch Shark Tank, how many people go on there and are literally willing to give up a percentage of their business to have a mentor that will help them? That is huge. These coaches and these mentors really can add so much to your business and help you grow in ways that you never thought possible. We all deal with these blocks in our brains that we learned when we were little and our own mind trash, right? These little things that we say in our brains. Mine is named Carolyn because that was my bully when I was in middle school. We all have things like that going on. Who do you think you are? You can't charge that. Why would you charge that? No one will pay for that. We all have this shit going in our heads, this trash. And sometimes we're completely blind to it and we don't see it until someone else points it out to us. I have weekly coaching calls with my coaches, and sometimes they can just ask me a question and they're not even telling me what to do. It's not like they're giving me a blueprint. They literally just ask me a question and it leads to a huge aha moment. I'm like, oh, I got it now. I get it. And all they did was ask me a question. Don't underestimate the value of an excellent coach or mentor. If you're looking for help and you think that we might be a good fit and you want to work with me, head on over to businessstraightedup.com/mentoring and check out the different options. And let me know if you have questions. If we aren't a good fit, that's okay too. But find someone who can help you move past some of the subconscious beliefs and the things that might be holding you back in your business and usually in your life too. So, deep breath. Let me take a drink. For anyone watching me on YouTube, I just want to show you my cup because it's so fun. Queen bee. If you're not watching, this is available on YouTube as well. Sometimes I do videos, sometimes I don't. Today I'm back in video. So just to recap, here are 5 types of relationships that really matter, that are well worth fostering and growing to see the success that you want to see in your business. The first is clients. Second is business owners not in your industry. Third is business colleagues that are in your industry. Fourth are supportive friends and family. And fifth are mentors and coaches. When looking at these relationships, decide what kind of support you want from them and ask others how you can support them as well. This sounds like a no-brainer, right? But so many of my students aren't able to really tell me what they want. So many of us, especially women. So ladies, especially you, so many of us have been conditioned to cater to what other people want instead of really knowing and honoring what we want. And of course, everyone wants someone to send them clients. I mean, yes, you build a relationship with someone. It would be amazing if they were just constantly referring you clients. Of course, that's what we all want, but sometimes it's not always possible. There are some friends that sell products that I will probably never endorse, never review, and never sell to someone else because I'm never going to touch them. But I can still high five her when she meets her goal. I can still invite her out to cocktails to celebrate because I care about her, even if I don't love the product. What do you need and want when it comes to support? And how can you find the people who will give you that? And adversely, ask them how you can support them. This is not a one-way street. These relationships work when you put in the work. You will only get out of any relationship what you put into it. Who is in your circle? Are they people that support you and lift you up and encourage you? Are they people that will be surrounding you when you fail, telling you, get back up, you can do this, you'll get through this, here, take my hand, let me help you up? Even more importantly, and a lot of people experience this when you're successful and you see the big wins, are these people the ones who will be standing around you, cheering for you and going, yes, hell yes, love this. I am so excited for you. Sometimes we find out who our real friends are, not when you're down in the dumps, but when you're killing your goals and crushing the low expectations that they may have had for you. So many people just live their life by default. They accepted what they were taught when they were little, that you grow up and you go to college and you get a job and you work every day except for your 2 weeks paid vacation, and that is your life. And when they see someone doing something differently, it can be very threatening to them because it's a reminder that they are not doing that. And if they want that, that can be very threatening to them. A lot of us find out who's really in our corner when we start to see that success. Surround yourself with amazing people who will celebrate you and love you fiercely and support you, and that you can do the same for them as well. Relationships matter. I know that I started the episode with a quote from Maya Angelou, but I'm going to end it with one as well, a different one. Maya Angelou said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." To have a sincere and genuine interest in other people will only serve your business in amazing ways. Learning how to foster those relationships will bring you so much success, and it is absolutely a necessary skill when it comes to running a business. To all of the listeners that joined me today, or maybe you're watching me on YouTube, I do have a great lip color on. So again, like if you want to see me on video, head over to YouTube. It's youtube.com/business straight up. Thank you so much for pressing play today. I am truly honored that you brought me along with you while you're walking your dog or doing your makeup or whatever it is that you're doing while you're listening. I know I am a multitasker as well. You are in good company. If you are someone that loves to help other people and you know someone who can use this information, please forward this episode over to them. If you are thinking, wow, Brooke, this content was amazing, how can I thank you? I have a way you can thank me. Can you head on over to iTunes and leave a review? You probably hear this from other podcasts. I know it seems small to you, but those reviews can mean so much to us. And iTunes just removed 30 of mine. What? I think they were just older, but so sad. So please head on over to iTunes and leave a review. If you take a screenshot before you submit, because once you hit submit, it takes some time to actually go live, email it to hello@businessstraightup.com. I will send you a free gift. If you're like, Brooke, how do I get there? Go to businessstraightup.com/iTunes. Please, please, please leave those reviews so that we can continue helping you every week with this free content. You didn't think you were getting out of homework, did you? Last week didn't have any homework, so we have to have some this week. I want to know, what is one relationship that you want to work on when it comes to seeing the success, that you want in your business? Is it a business colleague, someone that you want to share experiences with that does what you do? Or is it going to be growing the intentionality behind client relationships? What are you going to work on this week? Or maybe any of the others that we talked about too. Let me know in the community, which you can access at businessstraightup.com/community. It is time to start stepping into the CEO role of your business, to reach out and risk rejection, to start building those relationships. I can't wait to see what you do with your business. You are going to impact the world, and I'm excited to see it. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening to Business Straight Up. I'm so glad that you could join us today. Check out the show notes for this and all of the episodes at businessstraightuppodcast.com. And I can't wait to talk with you again. Have a great day.